Mariah Carey and rock music is not something people commonly, if ever, mention in the same sentence. Mariah's lush soprano voice, commanding whistle notes, and heavy melisma is not a style that is historically tied into rock music. Rock music doesn't typically involve voices that are necessarily as purely pretty as a voice like Mariah's. And Mariah's public image and presentation is even further away from a typical rock image. She's a diva. She's all about her angles, her hair, and luxurious gowns. You would be hard-pressed to find Mariah Carey dressed down during a public appearance. Even when glamour meets rock music, it's still worlds away from Mariah Carey. Like for example with Tina Turner. Her looks weren't always exactly glamorous, but they were well put together and edgy. Basically, you get the point. Mariah Carey as we know her is far removed from rock music as an artist in pretty much every single way. Yet back in the 90s, she made a secret rock album that was actually commercially released under a pseudonym. Although diehard fans of Mariah have somewhat been aware of its existence, and there's always been some level of speculation about the album, it's only in recent history that it has been outwardly confirmed by Mariah Carey herself. One of the biggest stars in music history released what is labeled as an alt-rock album at the height of her career, and it largely went unrecognized. It's such an odd and intriguing Easter egg to Mariah Carey's legacy. The idea for the rock album sprung into mind as Mariah was working on her fifth album, Daydream, in 1995, which would land as one of her career-defining albums, home to some of her most known hits, such as Fantasy, One Sweet Day, and Always Be My Baby. So Mariah Carey as a brand was in full swing, but Mariah had grown tired of feeling so sheltered and manicured, largely due to her marriage with label exec Tommy Mottola, who had a tight grip on the friendly and more conservative image Carey presented at the beginning of her career. The rock album began as an outlet for her to embrace a freer side, as well as have some genuine fun. It was a spontaneous process that was often worked on at the same time that she was working on Daydream. Mariah's longtime collaborator Walter Afanasieff helped her produce and write on the tracks, and they went into the project under aliases. Needless to say, the label was not very happy when they found out about this side rock project. Mariah initially wanted to release the album with her vocals up front and center, but her label quickly shut the idea down, fearing that it would completely ruin her career and image. So they took a bit of a different approach when they released it. The label got rid of a lot of the explicit lyrics on the record, and Mariah's close friend Clarissa Dane was brought into the project to be the front woman and face of the project. The project was given the name Chick, and Mariah can be heard all over the record. Clara's vocals were layered on top of Mariah's. Mariah's vocal approach is also quite different from the usual Carey vocal treatment. It features Mariah singing with a deeper and accented voice. The album by Chick was officially released in 1995, audaciously titled Someone's Ugly Daughter. It was more of an alter ego and passion project for her. The album had two singles, Demented and Malibu, which received little to no promo or growth and momentum. Malibu is the clear standout of the singles, with some edgy and funny lines. If I were a Malibu Barbie and you were Suntan Ken, I'd probably dump your ass for G.I. Joe, cause he's a macho. And if I were Marcy or Brady and you were Keith Partridge, I'd probably cheat on you with Davy Jones. Mariah's lyrics for the record were fun, carefree, outlandish, and largely nonsensical. Take the lyrics from Hermit as an example. I am vinegar and water, I'm someone's ugly daughter. Although Sony did release the project, they obviously weren't very enthusiastic about it, and radio stations never picked the record up. It wasn't until Mariah Carey released her memoir in 2020 that the rock project gained widespread media attention. In the memoir, she said she was inspired by bands like Hole and their freedom and expression. It was not a serious project for her. Mariah has stated that she found the original record with her vocals on lead, and perhaps she'll release it one day. So a major question would be, is this record any good? And my answer to that would be, is that it ranges from okay to bad. It's not high art or comparable to Mariah Carey's greatest or standard works. The real appeal of the record is it being an unrefined novelty project for an artist like Mariah Carey. It's nonsensical fun and angst. I will say there is a lot of catchiness and hooks throughout the album, and maybe if the lyrical and production choices were given more attention to detail, it would have been much more solid. But it almost sounds like a record that a child star signed to Disney or Nickelodeon would have made if they were going in a rock direction. At the same time, the goofiness adds a lot of appeal to this project. Mariah Carey in a lot of ways is the antithesis of standard rock music and imagery. But the fact that she put this record together at the height of her career, and her connection to it largely went unnoticed to the public, as well as it being something so far removed from her bread and butter, is indeed a rock and roll and badass move.